To the Fanfare News Feed.
All right. We got some breaking news, not the good kind, but nonetheless, we do have some breaking news. This is going to be an ongoing battle. I can see it now. I want to make sure you understand it, where we're headed with this thing, because it's not going to be easy. This just came out a little while ago. And what happened there? Oh, okay. Court rejects Trump's bid to keep federal funds frozen. So it went to the First Circuit Appellate Court. A federal appeals court refused to halt a judge's order forcing the Trump administration to release billions in federal grants and loans after states sued after a funding freeze. The Justice Department called the ruling intolerable judicial overreach, but the court expects the lower judge to clarify the order soon. I'll tell you what that means in a minute. The states argue that even after Trump rescinded his sweeping funding pause, billions remain frozen, causing nationwide chaos. All right, so this is the judge who said that you gotta let the money go. You gotta keep it flowing and everything else. Trump said, no. I'm not doing it. I'm going to appeal and I'll see what happens. So let me just bring you back up to this statement here, where it said the court, referring to the appellate court, expects the lower judge, the guy who made the original decision, to clarify his order soon. So what they said was, it's too broad. We need you to clarify it. So we're not, as of right now, we are not going to grant the appeal. We want to see how you rewrite this thing. So now it's going to go back to the judge who originally did the order, and now he's got to rewrite it. The problem with that is you basically gave the guy a wink wink. You basically told the judge who screwed up the order that it's so bad, we're not going to grant the appeal because this thing looks like crap. So we're going to let you do your homework all over again and clarify it, and then we see where things are. So it's not as bad as it appears, but it's bad because the courts are playing games. You don't get a mulligan, you don't get a do-over, and that's exactly what they did. Hey, this looks like crap. You know what? Can you rewrite it and then we'll look at it again? What is that? So in the interim, I expect that Donald Trump's like, well, I'm not doing anything until you guys get it right. So a real appeal can be heard. Then we'll see what's up. But right now, I'm not releasing anything. I doubt you're going to even see Trump acknowledge it, which is going to cause the lib nuts and everybody on TV to go stark raving mad, because they want it done right now. They want all this money released. If I can give the appellate court any credit, it's the fact that they said, you need to go fix this. And they did give him a wink wink. But the problem is, for this judge, there's nothing to fix. You cannot order the President of the United States to do this, especially when you see the amount of potential fraud and criminal activity. Pam Bondi, the DOJ, as of yet, have not piped in. I don't think Trump wants to show that card yet, so he's trying to just do it without actually bringing that in. If I were to estimate and look at this, I'm not a lawyer, and didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night, but if you look at where where the cards are falling on the table, it appears though that they're playing a game, and they're trying to. The court is now going to try and let this guy tidy things up, and then they're going to come back, and then they're going to rule again after this so-called clarification. I don't know how you can clarify it. You either are pregnant or you're not pregnant. You either release the money or you don't release the money. What are you going to do? So I understand when the DOJ, the Justice Department, called the ruling intolerable judicial overreach. So we will see where this transpires. In any event, if I were a betting person, I would say Trump just goes, well, just get back to me when you have to. Okay, that's I'm not doing anything. I'm not budging. You guys can go pound sand. You can scream all you want. I don't care. But the judge said they're not granting the appeal. All right, so let me show you something. John Solomon, who I find to be a reputable source, put out this article. And in this article it says, judge rules... Oh, no, that's the wrong one. Where's the one? Hold on, let me find it here. Okay, it's this one. All right. Federal Appeals Court declines to halt judge's order to unfreeze billions of dollars in federal aid. The Boston-based First U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, Democrat, declined to appeal the decision but urged John McConnell to clarify his order quickly to avoid any further issues. Oh, you can't see that. So, in essence, what they did is told the judge, go clean it up, and we won't, we're not going to push it on and let Trump have his appeal right now, but we are going to give you the opportunity to go clean it up. Further in the article, United States Appeals Court in Massachusetts on Tuesday refused to intervene in a lower court's judge's order to the Trump administration to unfreeze billions of dollars. And blah, blah, blah. They did that, and that says the First U.S. Circuit declined to appeal the decision, but urged Judge John McConnell to clarify his orders quickly to avoid further issues. What the hell does that even mean? McConnell said in his recent ruling, as you know, the plain text, do this, do it. And the judge also wrote that the initial order was clear and unambiguous, and there are no impediments to the defendant's compliance with it. Obviously, there are. Even the appellate court said there's something wrong with this order, and Monday's ruling, which is does not include any penalties for the White House's failure or to find it in contempt, which is weird. It's like, so you have an order that they didn't comply with because your order's crap, but we're not going to find him in contempt at all. Okay. That makes absolutely no sense. They're playing games. They're hoping that they could, stall him. That's all he got at this point. Then look at this one. Trump did get a ruling in his favor. Judge rules CBS's bid to dismiss Trump's $20 billion lawsuit is moot and allows the case to move forward. So the lawsuit was initially for $10 billion, but was altered last week after Trump's legal team added Paramount as a defendant, and now it was, and they also named Ronnie Jackson as a plaintiff, and it was increased from $10 billion to $20 billion. And in this regard, the judge says, let it keep going. Federal judge on Tuesday, today, gave President Trump a legal victory by rejecting a bid to dismiss a $20 billion election interference lawsuit against CBS News and its parent company, Paramount Global, ruling that their argument is moot. Moot means nothing. Be gone. So, these courts are really weird. And I have a quick programming note. Ashley scored a major interview, and I want to show you guys this before we get into tonight's show deeply. There is a USAID, just moving stuff around. There's a USAID whistleblower. Warns of corruption in the agency. The Trump administration identified programming ranging from contraceptives, yada, yada, yada. But the whistleblower is Mark Moyer. Mark Moyer is a former director of the Office of Civilian Military Cooperation at USAID in the first Trump administration. He explains the corruption he saw within the agency and the lack of transparency as he looks forward to its reduction. Mark Moyer will be joining us on Friday. I will have Mark Moyer from the USAID, the whistleblower, here on Friday. SV is texting me. What's he got here? RSBN just posted that Trump will greet and welcome Mark Fogle back to the United States tonight at 9:45 p.m. I don't know how the guy does it. So what we'll do is at 9:40 or so p.m., we will go ahead and cut to that. And Mark Fogle was the prisoner who got released from Russia, who's on his way back here and should be, I guess, in Washington at 9:45 p.m. And we'll take that. More breaking news. It's kind of breaking news. At this point, okay, wrong thing. There we go. Senate delays confirmation votes for Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. until Wednesday. So I don't have to go live at midnight because there is not going to be a vote at midnight. The Senate GOP has postponed the confirmation vote for Tulsi Gabbard to 11 a.m. tomorrow. So that means I'll be going live at 11 o'clock tomorrow, maybe a little bit early. Why are they postponing it? Well, does it say in here, but I saw it on the news. The reason why they postponed it isn't because of anything nefarious, although you could say it's wussy, but it's nothing nefarious. They're having a snowstorm up in Washington, D.C. area, and they didn't want people driving around, especially at midnight. They're getting, like, from what I understand, an inch an hour. So they just said, let's not convene tonight. Let's get the roads clear when everything's better tomorrow, and then she'll be confirmed tomorrow. Then tomorrow, which will stick with it until we do the 1 o'clock show, the senators will vote to break a filibuster on RFK Jr.'s nomination to lead the Department of Health and Human Services. Despite the delay, Kennedy's final confirmation vote remains on track for Thursday morning per Senate GOP Whip John Barrasso. So, to recap, tomorrow, 11 o'clock a.m., is Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation vote, which everybody expects her to pass tomorrow, so she will be confirmed tomorrow, sometime about probably noon, as the new Director of National Intelligence, and at which point she'll probably get sworn in shortly thereafter. Get her right to work. Then they're going to do the same process with RFK Jr., go through a filibuster-breaking cloture vote. They'll do that, and then 24 hours, that's why they said Thursday morning, even if the Democrats cause an issue, RFK Jr. should be confirmed sometime Thursday afternoon. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot happening right there. Mark Wayne Mullen, senator, has said, he's answering someone else's question. What's your confidence level of confirmation for all three of them? 100%. Senate GOP has the votes to confirm Tulsi, RFK Jr., and Kash Patel. So that just goes along with what we've been saying. No one can stop what is coming. You're doing all these delays, you're dancing around, you're going to these courts. It doesn't matter. You can't stop what is coming. Sorry, it is what it is. Deal with it. Cry like babies, but you can't stop what is coming. So I'm going to move into the show stuff. And the initial part of this is really funny. I told you I wasn't going to concentrate too much anymore on what the Democrats are saying because they're really not saying anything. But I showed you 2 days ago Elizabeth Warren running in the street. She couldn't take any questions whatsoever. She didn't want to hear it. We saw Maxine Waters, same thing, running couldn't get away fast enough. Now we've got, Congressperson Cue Ball doing exactly the same thing. And what's funny, it's right after she was so verbose, so loquacious, talking in front of people, talking in front of, the choreographed crowd. But when she came off stage, it was like crickets. She wanted to run away. She was pissed. How dare you ask me a question? You're going to see it right now. And I want you to pay particular attention to what she says in this open here. I may have to pause it because some of you, it's so quick you might miss it. But before she talks, we have that nutbag. SV had sent me the video. I had to make sure I deleted when she used her expletive and she said F Trump. But when you hear it go blank, it's because I had to delete the F Trump. And then she says something stupid. But let's listen to this moron.
I've been told I have 30 seconds, so I am going to tell you that we do have to, I don't swear in public very well, but we have to Trump.
I don't swear very well in public. But I'm going to do it for you right now. F Trump. Morons.
Please don't tell my children that I just did that. Look, let me tell you.
Unfortunately for you, Missy, if your children are old enough to be on the internet, they're going to see mommy saying F Trump. It's everywhere. You messed up. Maybe you shouldn't have said it if you're worried about what your kids were thinking, because you look like a moron saying F Trump. So now here comes Congressperson Q-Ball. The first part of this, really listen, okay? Okay.
Something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
Did you catch that? Do I need to rewind that just a little bit? Because, she was into her thing and maybe you missed that. Let me just play that again. Come on, Congressman. Talk to us. Tell us what you really feel. This isn't AI. This is actually her.
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
That should be on every commercial President Trump puts out. We're willing to work with people who want to censor Americans. That's us, the Democrat Party. I tell you, these people are crazy. I've told you these people are crazy. And all the people behind her, they're cheering her on, and nobody said... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. Nope. Dead fish behind her, not along. Do they even listen to what she said? I wouldn't normally stop and take comments this early, but why'd he kill Patriot? What? Yeah, she said that. Oh, wow. That needs to be cut and sent anywhere. Did I hear right? Yeah, you heard it right. I'm willing to work with anybody who's willing to censor Americans. Oh, I had to watch it like 3 times myself. Now, she didn't really say that, did she? She said something else. That could not be what this woman just said. There's no way, right? There's no way anybody would have said that. Here, for your viewing pleasure, in case you didn't hear it in its entirety, I'm going to let you hear it one more time so you can just sit there and stare at the screen and say, what the hell did she just say?
Look, let me tell you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress.
These people are lost, satanic beasts. That's all I can say. Because I doubt she meant to say that, but it's obviously was on her mind. And I sat a number of times and I'm like, was it a malapropism? Was it Freudian slip? What did she even mean to say? I don't know what word would fit in there. I'm willing to work with anyone who's willing to... Thinking, what does she mean? What was she going to put in there? And she just vomited censor. But as with Maxine Waters and as with Elizabeth Warren, and a bunch of them. It's all talk. They mean nothing of what they say. They've got nothing. They're paid puppets. And here, you're going to see the proof right now.
That's right. But they are not serious.
Congressman, what do you have to say about the fact that FEMA just spent $59 million housing illegal immigrants while people in Western North Carolina lived in tents for the past 4 months? What do you have to say about that? Do you accept that? Do you accept that? Do you accept the fact that because DOGE exposed that today, it sounds like you have a big problem with the fact that DOGE. I'm not blocking her. I'm not blocking. We're gonna make a little. Are you okay with that? Do you condemn the fact that DOGE exposed FEMA for sending $59 million to illegal immigrants today?
Excuse me, sir.
Do you condone that?
Excuse me, sir. I don't know who. I'll tell you what. I don't know who you are. Let's go. You're in the way.
I'm not in the way.
You are in the way.
Okay, then get out of my way. Oh, what's that? What's that look? What's that look?
Now the
You're all fake. You're all fake and phony. It's so easy for you to talk. SV asked me to put slow mode on already. It's so easy to talk when you're on a stage, you're at an event, you're surrounded by your sycophants who just want to hear you, but you can't talk to Americans who disagree with you. You have no ability to talk to Americans that disagree with you. And that's because you probably meant what you said. I will work with anybody who wants to censor Americans. They don't want Nick following her with a camera. They don't want her to have to answer something that she's not supposed to answer. How could you not supposed to answer that? What kind of a person are you who can stand in front of a microphone and spew the worst rhetoric possible, but yet you can't articulate anything when somebody's not in, a choreographed, manicured environment? And you can see it's happening over and over and over. They don't have the ability to converse or have any kind of discourse whatsoever when it's not in the confined box of what their puppet masters want them to be doing. It's now becoming quite evident that this is what the problem is. It's becoming really, really revealing. These people cannot have a conversation unless they're told what to say. And the other ladies, they try to block this. Why are you blocking the camera? You're telling me in addition to having nothing to say, you don't even have the ability to look in a camera. You don't want to see anyone to see your face. Why? And then at the end, she turns and gives him that, that look. And he's like, what? What's that mean? Is he supposed to scare me? And you're surrounded by these people who are just, mean and pushing people away. You're a congressperson. You're supposed to be a congressperson, not for Democrats. Nobody elected you to be a congressperson for Democrats. Nobody elected you to be a congressperson for Marxists. Nobody elected you a congressman to be for Republicans. You're a congressperson to represent everybody. You don't get to pick and choose which ones you want to represent. If they live in your district, wherever you are, that's your constituent. So why is it you have to hide your face, look away, have people block you just because you cannot issue any statement? I've been out. I'm not a congressional representative, but people have asked questions. Hey, I saw you here. I saw this. I saw that. What do you think? Hey, how you doing? And you're a human. Why can't you converse? See, that's a problem with the Democrats, and it's now becoming more and more evident. That's the third one in less than 24 hours. Elizabeth Warren, Maxine Waters, and now Congressperson Q-Ball now can't answer any questions. They can't even talk. They want to run away as fast as possible, which means you need to confront them as much as possible. I don't mean violently. Nick was taking these videos. He probably just had his phone with him and was like, hey, congressperson, blah, 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 boom, blah, bida, boom, bing, bang, bing, bing. And she couldn't answer. Hey, your dress looks nice, but in addition to that, why are you doing this to the American people? They got nothing. They got nothing. You would think this is such a big issue for the Democrats that you would do everything you possibly can to make sure you vocalize what it is you have a problem with. If you have a problem with what Trump is doing, you should be able to easily vocalize that. Here is why I have a problem. But we already know, and you've seen it now over and over, they can't even address what's happening. Somebody has told these people, you are never to address what you're seeing. Never address a number. Never address anything from any of the budgets in regards to hard numbers. Don't do it. And I've watched so many, and you're going to see one more, I've seen so many people in Congress and the Senate on the Democrat side who won't answer a single question in regards to anything Elon Musk has found. Nothing. Instead, they just want to talk about big balls.
Disruptor-in-chief Elon Musk, who apparently has adopted the alias, at least he changed his social media handle to Harry Balls, tweeted this morning, democracy in America is being destroyed by judicial coup. An activist judge is not a real judge. And as
the preamble of the Constitution says.
So CNN has been reduced to reading something with the name Harry Balls. I tell you, man, these people, they're so lost. So now here comes Jamie Raskin at another one of these AstroTurf rallies. And it gets a little embarrassing here because he starts talking about, Trump is attacking the Constitution. So he starts reciting the Constitution. And he's hoping that people will fill in the words like you fill in the song. When I say, hey, you say, oh. Well, he's going to read or deliver a message about the Constitution, and people are like, what? What's the next line? I don't know.
We, the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, promote tranquility, provide for the common defense, and support the general welfare, and provide.
He realizes, this is the wrong room. These people don't even know the Constitution. Let me just go with it because I thought they'd be able to fill stuff in. They got the union part. They all knew that. But after that, we never read the next sentence. I'm sorry. We can't go there.
To our posterity, the blessings of liberty do hereby and ordain the Constitution of these United States of America.
The bottom line is simple. Everyone knows there's waste in government and should be cut.
Did you just hear what this man said? Seriously, did you just hear what he just said? He's been in the Senate since Mark Antony was in the Senate. I don't know. But his response is, everybody knows there's waste in government. Dude, you've been there like 30 years. Have you tried to fix it? Is it just a given? Yeah, whatever. We waste your money. No, everybody did know that. Everybody suspected it. And now, without any doubt, everybody does know you people are thieves and morons. And you're just brushing it off like it's no big deal.
DOGE is using a meat axe, and they're cutting things that are efficient and effective. I was in Albany and Syracuse on Monday talking at community health centers. Many of them have had their funds cut temporarily. Some even hasn't been restored yet. And they're the most efficient healthcare providers around. Take AID. Maybe there's some programs they don't like. But most people agree that PEPFAR was extremely effective and cost effective. Most people would want to see us continue our fight in Central Africa against Ebola so it doesn't come here. And so the bottom line is very simple, okay? If you want to make cuts, then you do it through a debate in Congress, not lawlessly by just implementing it.
All right, so if you want to make cuts, that's your problem, Chuck. If you want to make cuts, then you should come to Congress and have a debate about it. This is the American people's money. What the F do you mean if you want to make cuts? Yeah, I want to make cuts. Everybody should want to make cuts. Everybody should want to ferret out waste. Who doesn't want waste to be removed from a budget? There's no if. Do it. You've had 30 years. And we, the people, have had enough. We're seeing now that you didn't have the ability to do it. And the hits just keep coming over and over and over. And we're absolutely done with it. You guys know who Scott Turner is. Scott Turner is the new Secretary of HUD that Trump put in place. Working with DOGE, we have identified $260 million in savings at HUD alone. The American taxpayer is no longer writing a blank check for federal contracts and programs. Americans voted for reform and we're delivering it for President Trump. Hey, Chucky, Scott Turner has only been on the job about a week. 1 week. You've been there decades. How did he find $260 million to shave off, and you still wondering if you want to cut it? That's why the American people are pissed off. That's why Trump's ratings are going through the roof. There's no if to this. Get your butt, do what you need to do, have the mea culpa, and say, hey, listen, Scott, I didn't know you found this. What'd you find? Because you never looked. You never looked. The Democrats never looked. I don't ever see, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, prove it to me. This guy's been in the job probably 4 or 5 days. 4 or 5 days. He mentions a number, 260 million. We're still waiting for the first Democrat to mention a number. No one. No one has mentioned anything at this point in regards to any kind of number. It makes you have no reaction but to say, why? Why? And so as they're talking at this point, and I said I'm going to reduce the amount of stuff I show from the Democrats in the media because the point now has been made. There is no message. There's nothing they can do about it. And all they can hope for is to slow it down and have the courts do crazy, crazy stuff. And I love this quote by David Sachs. Many of you may have read the books from Alexander Solzhenitsyn. And you've heard it paraphrased many times. Many, many, many times. We know they're stealing. They know that they're stealing. They even know that we know they are stealing, but yet they continue to steal. That is your government right now, as of today. Everybody knows it. It's not even a secret. We're stealing your money. We're going to do everything we possibly can to line our pockets with your money, and we know that you know we're doing it because there's no way a bartender from Queens can all of a sudden be worth millions. It just doesn't equate that way. There's no possible way these people could have that kind of money if they weren't working with somebody or stealing it directly from you through some pet project or something. And you have to know, if you find out that AOC or any of these people have 501c3s or they're running an NGO or they're doing anything, they didn't have the ability to do that. How do I know? Because they would have done it already. AOC didn't come into Congress with 6 corporations, 5 LLCs, and an NGO. She came in with a bottle of scotch and an apron. So if you were that kind of savvy, you would already have that in place. Many of you in business have numbers of LLCs and have done something. If you choose to run for office, that experience is already in place. How did these people make so much money after they got into office, not before, if they knew what they were doing? It's a scam. It's a constant scam. This one's going to cause problems tomorrow. President Trump's new executive order instructs all federal agencies and departments to promptly undertake preparations to initiate large-scale reductions in the workforce. George says America's about to change forever. They're going to scream. Run right back to court. Sue. You can't fire these people. If for some reason the Supreme Court does not step in, and if the Supreme Court doesn't rule the way they should be ruling, because this is a no-brainer, I don't know how America survives. It's point blank. I don't know how America survives if sane people don't realize you cannot have these crazy judges doing all this stuff and running our country and saying you can never, ever fire someone in the federal government. It's insane. You can never cut back on any spending, even if it's for drag shows in Albania. How can that possibly be? And if they don't react, that's where it becomes problematic. That's where, the revolution indeed will begin. People are not going to stand for this. You're not going to stand for it. We're giving Trump the opportunity to do something about it. We're all saying, hey, listen, we see you trying to do everything you can. We see you putting out these executive orders. But at the same time, how long do you think the American people will take this if for some reason the Supreme Court doesn't slap this stuff down? It may be as soon as April 15th this year. It may be one of those things where people start looking at this and saying, you know what? I am already done. I've got no more F's to give. I am not going to make this. I'm not going to do it. Just not going to do it. And then what? Well, luckily Trump, controls all the branches of law enforcement. But eventually, he probably won't be in office. So it needs to get fixed, and it needs to get fixed now. He's gotten all the tools he needs. He has a 6-3 advantage in the Supreme Court. There is no possible reason that I don't see the Supreme Court stepping in and taking care of business. It's crazy. I got to do a quick read here, so please bear with me, and I hope some of you may find some value in this, because it is kind of important. Americans still have kitchen table problems. A lot of us are carrying high credit card balances that charge us 20% or more each and every month. That may not be you. We all may not be carrying credit card balances with 20% interest, but many people watching this, and many Americans indeed are carrying credit cards with that kind of interest. Thank you, Joe Biden. But it's time to get rid of those high interest credit cards, especially if you own property. So homeowners, if you're waiting to figure out how to get your finances in order, you need to call my friends at American Financing today. American Financing Salary-Based Mortgage Consultants. Let me just tell you what that means. A salary-based mortgage consultant means they're not working on commission. So that there's no incentive for them to bump you up to a higher mortgage because they are salary-based. And they're helping homeowners just like you tap into their home's equity to get out of high-interest debt. They're saving their average customer $800 a month, $800 a month by doing this. Saving that kind of money every month should make the decision really easy. All it takes is a 10-minute, no cost, no obligation phone call to find out how much you can save. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 mortgage payments. Call American Financing today at 888-976-5555. That's 888-976-5555, or you can visit americanfinancing.net/Barry. You'll see my face there. So if you want to try and refinance your mortgage, if you think you're in a position where you can refinance your mortgage, whether it's to pay off debt, put a little bit more cash in your hands, I know many of you may think this isn't the time to really go into further debt, but if you do need some extra capital, maybe that same capital you can use and parlay it into something else that's making you money, so that the equity in the house just isn't sitting there. And if you've got some time before you retire, it might be something you might want to hedge. Depends on your personal situation. So if you're interested, go ahead and give the people at American Financing a call at 888-976-5555, or go to americanfinancing.net/Barry. Thank you, and see you in a minute. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. All right, so I have to ask each of you a very direct question. And that direct question is based upon what you're going to hear right now. After you've seen over the last couple of days what these judges are doing, it's a very personal question. Many of you are Christian, I know that. But do you agree with what you hear right here? Let me know.
Just enacting your agenda and looking for waste is now something that requires a nationwide injunction to stop. Congress has got to step in on this nationwide injunction issue. I think that should be, that's like right up there with election integrity.
Well, let's keep in mind, I'm going to be quick here. The president beat lawfare when it was going after him when he was a candidate. The president's going to beat this, in my opinion. Yes, I think he should take a page out of Andrew Jackson's playbook. At some point, J.D. Vance is right when J.D. said, hold on, you can't have a judge step in when the president is exercising his constitutional authority. Imagine if a judge said, Mr. President, as commander-in-chief, you can't bomb this particular city or this certain area. You can't do that. You got to give the president the ability to be the chief executive. I hope he'll continue to do that. Congress, by the way, we need to make his executive orders permanent. We need to pass laws to back up his agenda. We need to move quickly to do that, and then we can stand behind the president. But the president's right to say he'll follow the law, but the Constitution matters too, and he can do his job.
All right, so my question to you is, because at this point we have to begin looking at this, should President Trump ignore these judges? Do you support President Trump? Would your opinion go down if he told these judges to pound sand? Is it time to make a stand for America? Should he become just like Andrew Jackson and say, done, I'm the president, I've been elected, this is what I'm going to do, you can't stop me, let's roll. Now, understanding before you answer, at some point there may be another Democrat president, and that Democrat president can use a precedent, didn't mean to rhyme that too much, and say, hey, he did it, so guess what, I'm going to do it too. Because once we open that door, they can walk in as well. So is it time for him to become like Andrew Jackson and ignore the courts? And wow, everybody is saying yes, he should ignore them, just as Biden did. Yes, absolutely. I'm struggling to see any no's. Yes, he is the president. It's not the Supreme Court. Yes, it's time to stand up. Denise says no, not to do it. That's the first one I've seen in here that says no, not do it. I would ignore the judges. Double-edged sword. Yes, it is. Very much so a double-edged sword. But if I said that in a different way, I bet you it would be 100% yes. If I turned it around and said, this is a Democrat president who has the Democrat Senate, Democrat House, and he wants to do X, Y, or Z, and the judges say, you can't do it, would the Democrats in this position run right through that door and say, we're going to do it anyway? I bet you almost everybody would say yes. If they were in this position, they would definitely do it. So if you feel in your heart that the Democrats would do it, why shouldn't Trump do it? Because there's a law that, I don't know how you interpret this. There are scholars out there, Jonathan Turley, Alan Dershowitz, all kinds of people, Mark Levin, everybody has an opinion. And the only opinion that seems is going to matter are the 9 people on the Supreme Court, which in essence is doing the same thing. You see, once it goes from the appellate court and then it jumps to the Supreme Court, it is doing the exact same thing. We'll all be sitting on pins and needles wondering, what are these judges going to say? These 9 people who we did not elect. We elected the president, but these 9 people, we are putting the future of America in the hands of 6 people. The other 3, can't count on them at all. We can barely count on a couple of the Republicans, but the other 3 are Marxist communists, and they're just going to say, nope, he can't do it. So take 3 off the table, and you're starting the game 0-3. Everything you bring there, it's 0-3. You're starting there. So you have to get at least 5. I know we have Alito. I know we have Clarence Thomas. Those are the only 2 I know we have. That's how crazy this is. This should be a slam dunk. You got Alito, you got Clarence Thomas. You're going to need 3 more. Amy Coney Barrett, I have no idea. Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and John Roberts. And so that's, to me, it's the funny part or weird part about this is that the same thing is going to happen. We're hoping that these 6 people, see the seriousness of this and go, you can't do this. He's the president. And watching how Judge Roberts has been over the course of his last 8-9 years, he has this thing where he doesn't like the court to get muddied. He doesn't want to see, them jumping into certain things. So if it gets to a point where he may say, we're not going to hear it, we're not taking it up, especially on an emergency basis. See, right now, the only way these injunctions get raised in the Supreme Court is you have to say that these injunctions are going to cause irreparable harm to Americans if they're allowed to continue. Is it irreparable harm? Yes, it's a waste of money, but is it irreparable harm? I think it is. I think it's taking tax dollars from Americans that they can never get back. To me, that's the definition of irreparable. You took it from me. You want to spend $50 million in Gaza or wherever on condoms. I have no say in it, and I don't see where it's appropriated in the budget. That's going to be big. When they keep saying it's congressionally appropriated, someone's going to have to show a line item for some of this stuff. I don't see how it survives. Biden ignored a Supreme Court ruling. This is nothing compared to what a bag of noodles did. Yeah, I agree with you, but again, now you're talking the same thing. It's an interesting conversation. You know how I feel. I feel you should just do it. Just keep doing what you're doing. I don't care. Run these people into the ground. Enough Americans are seeing what's happening, and just destroy them. That's personally how I feel. I think at this point he's got that kind of clout behind him. So yeah, I would do it. Banks the executive is the executive. Exactly. Yes, it harms America. Period. You know what is weird to it as well is somebody just wrote in here. It went by too fast and says, "What about the money to terrorists?" Yeah, that's irreparably harming America. All it's going to take is for one person to plant something and boom, and yeah, you've irreparably harmed Americans. If he can go in and say, I know this money is going to a terrorist country, how can I, as the president, allow this money to be distributed to terrorists? I know, and one of the things you're going to hear, I don't know if it's tonight, but Elon Musk said they have 150 people. No. I forget what the number is, but they have a whole bunch of money from your Social Security fund going to people who are 150 years old. And they're saying, let it go. Like, they're dead. There is nobody receiving Social Security that is 150 years old. But they don't want to stop anything. They don't even want to look and say, hey, listen, I found these things going to the same Social Security number, at phony addresses, to terrorists, to fraudsters. Nope, send it off. See, the Democrats could have done this the right way themselves. They could have said, hey, you found that? Yeah, go ahead, let's cut that out. Nope. It's an all or nothing deal with them. That's where I think the big mistake is. They don't want a dime of this cut whatsoever. They don't even want websites cut. If you were here earlier, one of the judges came out today and said that Trump had to restore a website because if the website wasn't up, people are going to die. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The Constitution is clear. The president runs the federal government. Yeah. Absolutely. You can't rule unless you have power. We didn't elect King Charles. We elected a president. You're right. Beardy, do you mind slowing down the chat? I can't read that fast. I already slowed it down to 30 seconds. You want me to bop it to 60 seconds? I didn't know it was moving that fast. All right. I'll raise it to 45 seconds. Let's see how that works. Okay. And do a little better. A lot of people want to talk. A lot of people. All right, so let's continue. So what I got next for you, what we're going to do is we're going to go until that prisoner is back on American soil. Well, actually, I think he's already in America, but when he gets to meet President Trump, let me pull it up. So I've got it waiting. Okay, so I got it ready in case when it happens. All right, so something else happened today before I get to some video here. There was a little kerfuffle in the White House press room, and the communists in the media are trying to force Trump's hand there as well. Monica Page posted this: the Associated Press refused to recognize the newly named Gulf of Mexico as the Gulf of America. So the White House blocked an AP order from an event in the Oval Office today, which is probably the executive orders. The White House Correspondents Association responds: the White House cannot dictate how news organizations report the news, nor should it penalize working journalists because it is unhappy with their editors' decisions. The White House Correspondents stands with the AP and calls on the administration to immediately change course. So, once again, we have the left saying, do what we say. You can't do this. Well, I'm the president, and I don't want this around me. It's the Gulf of America, and I don't care about your DEI thinking. We're not going to accept people who are going to, on purpose, report fraudulent stuff. And their response is just amazing to me, because when you look at the response, unhappy with their editors' decisions. I'm not unhappy with your decision. I'm unhappy with your ability to tell the frickin' truth. You see, to them, it's like, if I feel like calling it Gulf of Mexico, it's Gulf of Mexico. If I feel like calling Kentucky Alabama, then Kentucky is now Alabama. So you're telling the President of the United States, you are the White House press room. You are the White House correspondents. And you're saying you can say whatever you want, and it doesn't matter, because it's our decision to do so. I'm thinking to myself, Ashley, if you're watching, we need to get Monica on, because how is that reporting? You can look at that. The White House cannot dictate how news organizations report the news. Thank you. Now you have admitted to everyone, all of you watching, news organizations don't report news. News organizations report what they decide to report. You put that in writing. And I immediately tell you, you got to do what we say and let this person back in there. So if he goes in and does a press conference, or Caroline Levitt goes in and does a press conference, and they completely lie, which they have done, you're telling me I can't get rid of you because you're a crappy reporter. Something's really wrong here, man. I mean, seriously, think about it. As we said, the snow globe is full of snow. Right is wrong. Wrong is right. You're telling someone who makes a living writing stories and reporting that, and you're saying the reporting doesn't have to be accurate because you don't like it. It's the Gulf of America. Google's changed. Other things have changed. It's Gulf of America. That's what the president decreed. And you're telling us you don't have to agree with him, and thereby you don't want to call it that. And I challenge you and I demand that you restore access. You're demanding something of the President of the United States. You're a frickin' reporting association. That's what they think of themselves. Now they're putting themselves in a position where they think they are bigger and better than the President of the United States. They don't want us to have this kind. They keep saying democracy. If you were in democracy, I would be ashamed to write this freaking letter. I would be ashamed of any organization who would write a letter saying, A, you can't tell me what to do. B, you can't penalize us because we're working journalists. C, if we write it that way and you don't like it, it's too bad. Now, I am a full-throated, 150% supporter of free speech. But, and this is where that line is, I don't have to listen to it. Every single one of you, hey, Barry's saying this, Barry's saying that. Ooh, I don't like what Barry's saying. Turn it off. There's nobody who can force you to listen to what I have to say. So if you can't be forced to listen to what I have to say, how the hell is the president forced to hear your opinion? And then you say, we just make shit up. Excuse my language. This is... You guys can hear this stuff and you probably say to yourself, Barry, are you making... Nope, not making this stuff up. Not making this stuff up. They have no idea what democracy is. Give the seat to a streamer. Yeah, it's crazy. And I just read into these things and I just wonder if they don't even take the time to understand what they're saying. I could not even fathom demanding anything from the President of the United States. How could I even write that letter? You have to do this. I get to come in here. And now that it's been supported by the entirety of the White House correspondents, I kick them all out. I kick them all out. Y'all got to leave. Every one of you. Never mind. We're not going to do it this way anymore. Here's how we're going to do it. Everything's going to be online. Pick a number, just like in a chat, and we'll do it from there. There's no way I would put up with this stuff. No way. Misinformation. We could not have said Fort Liberty. Yeah. And that's how they want to talk to the President of the United States. Man, it's so crazy. All right, so I'm going to go to the video now. We've got 35 minutes or so before we get there. Let me see if do I have anything else I need to go over beforehand. Just this one. another one bites the dust. Another Queen album buyer here. Trump fires USAID Inspector General after damning report. The Inspector General of USAID, Paul Martin, was fired today, just one day after releasing a critical report on the alleged impact of Trump's foreign aid cuts. What an idiot. Martin, who had served as USAID's independent watchdog since December of 2023, was notified by email from the Office of Presidential Personnel stating his position was terminated effective immediately. The decision aligns with the administration's push backed by Elon to dismantle USAID, citing massive waste and fraud. Dude, you stepped up and stuck your head in the guillotine and said, "Me next." There you go. Lop it off. I'm an idiot. Next lawsuit. Well, you got to put him back in, even though he's completely insubordinate. You have to keep paying him. I'm gonna call it right now. You cannot get rid of these people. They're like bad pennies. They keep showing up. Absolutely. You're done. Go away. Don't want to see you anymore. Oh no, you can't fire me. I'm going to go sue now. And I'm going to call Norm Eisen or one of these people and see what they have to say about everything, because you can't sue me. It's bad, man. It is really, really bad. How bad is it, Barry? Well, it's so bad. You get people like this on CNN. And what they say, it's just nutters. Listen how they talk about people here.
You've covered a lot of billionaires.
He's good at that. And he's good. He's good at the shiv. You know, he does the little shiv.
Sam Altman, just more out of sorrow than
I feel sorry.
Than anger.
I feel sorry because he's so unhappy and insecure. Like sort of the backhanded insult, I guess.
You've covered a lot of these folks these tech billionaires. Are any of them happy?
I don't know, a couple of them. I think Tim Cook's happy. I don't know.
Are any of them happy? She a psychologist? She know what's going on in their personal life? You're asking this idiot on your show, are any of them happy? I'm pretty sure I watched the press conference today, which we're going to show a bunch of excerpts from. And in this press conference, I see Elon Musk very happy. I see him playing with his young son. I see his son picking boogers on national television and having a good time. He seemed well-adjusted and happy. Playing with dad's ears, stuff you would think a little kid that's well-adjusted and happy would be doing at that age. He wasn't crying, screaming, stomping his feet. He was having fun with dad. He just happened to be in the Oval Office on national TV. And you're asking this woman, is he happy?
No, Satya Nadella seems happy. I think ones that act like adults are happy, absolutely. But, you know, what Musk does is sort of, he's 53 years old now at this point. And he sort of engages in memes, dank memes and stupid jokes and things like that. So the ones that haven't progressed beyond, 12 years old, emotionally, I think have a problem. And so they have insecurity. And I think Sam is right. And that's what happens when this happens. And so, there's a lot of people that are very happy.
Yeah, he changed his Twitter ID to like a juvenile joke earlier today. And then.
Yeah, he likes that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not offended. It's just stupid.
Well, you've got it. I mean, I think the thing is he's underneath all that. He's quite a crafty and strategic person. And so some of it is performative. Some of it is deep insecurity. Some of it is he likes the power and he likes the attention.
Could it be he's trolling you? I'm just saying, Jake, with your holier-than-thou attitude and this crazy woman who doesn't have a psychology degree but is talking about the fact that he, dank memes and stuff. He can't really be happy. You kidding me? You just don't know how to meme. The left can't meme has been long talked about. And you're finding the ability to go on Jake Tapper's show and talk about, he changed his handle to, just a crazy name. It's juvenile. It's way beneath me. He's 53. He's acting like a 12-year-old. Before before Biden took office, there used to be this thing called fun. There used to be this entire industry that did nothing but make us laugh. There was slapstick. There was stand-up. There was all kinds of laughter. Maybe she should go online and look up some old videos of Don Rickles, Richard Pryor, and just hear some of the stuff these guys used to say and how much we all would just laugh. just laugh all the time. I remember growing up and my mom and dad had the old, stereo player, and they would bring out records and they would tell us, you can't be in the room right now. I'm like, what's getting ready to go on here? Y'all getting ready to do something? And they would put on, because I would sneak, obviously, some records by Red Fox and some records by Flip Wilson, and it was dirty. Oh my goodness, I could not believe the stuff that was coming out of those speakers. And I had my ear right to the room where all their friends would be down there. There used to be a thing called fun. We would laugh. We would go to movies. Animal House. We would laugh. It was funny. When's the last time you've seen a funny movie? When's the last time you've seen... I can tell you the last one I think I've seen. I think the last funny movie I saw was Tropic Thunder. And since then, everything else has been animated. You have to watch, what's Groot? Minions. Minions, I love the Minions. But they're cartoons. That's cartoons. When's the last funny movie? A movie that nobody cared what the people in the movie said. When I watched Tropic Thunder with Robin, I could not stop laughing. There were times when I would miss 3-4 minutes of the movie because I'm still laughing at a joke from a while ago because it was so funny. And that scene with Les Nessman or whatever his name was with Tom Cruise. When Tom Cruise showed up, we're like, is that Tom Cruise? Is that Tom Cruise in a funny fat suit? Yeah, that's Tom Cruise. And when he went on that diatribe against Sleeping Dragon or whatever it was called, I just couldn't stop laughing. The part with Jack Black, when Jack Black was tied to the tree. You guys remember that? It was so funny. And then all of a sudden, comedy became bad. You can't talk about that. Why? Somebody might get offended. And so she's sitting here. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but she's the epitome of what's happened. You can't do memes. Oh, that's juvenile. It's okay to be juvenile. Many of us met our spouses, our friends, because we could make them laugh. We could have fun with them. How boring is it to be with people who just have this kind of attitude? Maybe that's why they're such nasty people, because they don't have any fun. I showed you the article this morning about the lady who went to the Super Bowl and was mad because she was watching toxic masculinity at a football game, where big guys run into each other and look to inflict pain. And she couldn't take it that they were booing Tay-Tay and cheering for Trump like, oh, I can't believe it. Toxic masculinity has returned. It never went anywhere. You avoided it. People around you avoided doing it with you. But those of us who have senses of humor and are around people, other people who enjoy laughter, and I've said it many times on this show. In fact, I'll do it again right now. There's a song sung by Robert Plant. Watch how fast this goes. I'm going to give a hoodie. I'm going to give a hoodie out to the first person who says or knows or quotes the song where Robert Plant says, "Does anybody remember laughter?" And I'm waiting. SV and mods, look for someone to say the song, "Does anybody remember laughter?" And people are like thinking, what song could that be? Oh, I'm looking. I have to refresh. There it is. It's Stairway to Heaven, the live version. So, SV, if you could find who is the first person to say Stairway to Heaven, that person's going to get a hoodie. Just give them the email, because the first person I have may not be the first person, and then people get mad at me because I was first. But the first person I have is Sheila. And so let me know if Sheila was the first person to say Stairway to Heaven. And it's all about laughter. It's all about having fun. And for some reason, the left doesn't like fun anymore. Everybody's offended. It doesn't make any sense, because that's the essence of us as human beings. Smiling, laughing, self-deprecation, making fun of yourself, and being okay in your skin if somebody says something. And understand they're jousting with you. They're having fun. The Democrats don't seem to understand that. There were so many times in my life that I grew up, and there were people I didn't even know, but somebody would be telling a story, singing a song, doing something, and we would all laugh. I abhor liberals. I love Alice's Restaurant. I think that's a funny song, sung by Arlo Guthrie. If you guys remember Arlo Guthrie, he was a peacenik and all that stuff, and it was about getting arrested at a draft protest, I believe. And a song goes on forever, but it's funny. I could laugh at the fact that Arlo Guthrie was making a protest song called Alice's Restaurant, and every Thanksgiving it was played as we were growing up. All through high school, it became a staple. Didn't offend me. It was funny. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, all of these people. Sanford and Son. Sanford and Son, about two black guys that own a junkyard. We turn on TV now. That ain't there. You can just keep clicking. In fact, it's even hard to find some of those kind of shows anymore. That's one of the reasons I believe we are where we are. I believe people have lost the ability to laugh. It's a sad thing, because one of the best times I have with Robin is when we sit and laugh. We went up to North Carolina. We had fun with the kids and played games, and we laughed. At this point, you have to make up your own humor. You have to have humor in groups because you can't hardly find it anywhere. There was a movie I mentioned a long time ago. It was Kings of Comedy with Cedric the Entertainer and Bernie Mac and a couple other people. And one of the guys in there was D.L. Hughley. He was hilarious. Now, can't stand him. Can't stand him. All he does is scream about Trump. I'm like, man, go back to telling jokes. Cheech and Chong, obviously liberal. Funny as hell. What's the last movie you've seen that's been made in the last, 4 or 5 years that's not animated that you find funny? I would love to see Sam Kinison. Ooh, yeah, you're going in the dark side. But yeah, what would you see? Have any of you seen a movie, show that's actually funny that you can't wait to see? I mean, Seinfeld couldn't get made these days. Red Skeleton. Barry, I absolutely love your channel. God bless. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. No problem. Thank you. Jefferson's, Blazing Saddles. Oh my goodness. Don't go there. Where are the white women at? If you saw Blazing Saddles, you know exactly what part I'm talking about. All Mel Brooks's movies just stomped all over what they call, toxic masculinity. The guy punches the horse. Race lines. Carol Burnett. Movies today. Happy Gilmore. Yeah, those are years ago. Sister Act, years ago. So there's nothing that comes out anymore that people have fun with. Right, so let me get into this part of the show. It just bothers me. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent with that, but it just makes me sad for America. There's so many people who don't know comedy anymore. I don't know if you ever or when's the last time you've gone to like an improv show? There's an improv in West Palm Beach. Now they got signs. You might get offended. Just don't walk in here. Understand this is a no woke zone. These are comedians, and they may say. And I'm like, why would you even have to say that anymore? Because people would get upset. You ever go on YouTube and watch just comedy shows stand up and just go through them and just realize, oh, I missed that. I just missed that. Dean Martin roasts were funny. Young Frankenstein, Three's Company. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, absolutely. Dukes of Hazzard was funny. I'm sorry. I was staring at something in the Dukes of Hazzard, and it wasn't the Dukes, if you know what I mean. Benny Hill. Oh my God! You guys are walking down memory lane here. The last movie that brought tears to my eye was Airplane. Think about how far back that is. You ever see a grown man naked? Stop calling me Shirley. All that stuff. I Love Lucy. Tim Conway. You guys are all over it. All right. Before this guy lands and we see Donald Trump meeting him. Let me make sure I've got that covered in case they cut to him. But today, President Trump held a impromptu press conference. Some of you guys saw it with me. I took a couple nuggets from there that I wanted to replay tonight because I think it's important to address a couple of the things that he said that are striking. I mean, it was obviously Elon was talking and X was there picking his nose, and then Trump was talking as well. And I think a lot of what got said went over the head of some of these reporters, and in light of some of these decisions, this makes even more sense. So let's listen in on it. We'll talk about a couple of these cuts.
We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud? I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal.
The Democrats, the corrupt judges, the bureaucracy robbing us blind for trillions of dollars a year that they're stealing for themselves have really stepped in it. They walked right into Trump's trap. He goes in, exposes bona fide corruption, conflict of interest, and they run out and call him a dictator and a tyrant and that he's going to destroy everybody when they're the ones that have brought this country to the verge of bankruptcy. And now they've picked their Alamo, their hill to die on, defending all this corruption as the information comes out now that they're all on the take. They have really walked into President Trump's trap. I've seen a lot of amazing press conferences from President Trump and Elon Musk, but today's went on for hours and was riveting. And multiple times Trump said, look, why do these judges want to block investigations into where money's going, in many cases without even names on the files for decades, into black holes? Well, we're now learning why, and it's exactly what we guessed. As each judge gets spot checked, they're not just Democrat Party appointees, their daughters, their wives, their brothers are getting money from USAID, their high-level officials in organizations like the Department of Education. Total conflict of interest.
And this is big numbers. So we're at 100.
All right, so before we get into that, I want to address what he just said. I kind of stepped into it earlier today when he started talking about the daughters, the wives, these kind of things, the nepotism that's involved in a deep state. The web that we're starting to see, that all of these judges, going all the way back to Judge Merchan in New York, and his daughter taking $90+ million, and the things that she was doing, you're starting to see people now who are digging into all this stuff and realizing there's something really, really wrong with this. The money is going sideways. The money is coming in and it's going out to family members. And so these judges who were picked to be in the place that they are, it's getting, I mean, here, look at this. This is something that Laura Loomer came out with, and it's crazy. Exclusive evidence. I've uncovered the X and Facebook page accounts of Judge McConnell, which proves he's been involved with the Biden administration. On May 3rd, Judge McConnell tagged himself at the White House during the Biden administration, where his daughter Catherine, who was appointed by Joe Biden to the Department of Education. So the judge who wrote the order telling Trump you couldn't stop the funding to a place like the Department of Education, his daughter worked at the Department of Education. There couldn't be a clearer conflict of interest. She spoke to Joe Biden's Commission on Advancing Educational Equity, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Hispanics. In his Facebook post, which I've screen recorded, archived and posted below, he's so proud of Catherine. This is the same judge who just ordered Elon Musk and President Trump to unfreeze the federal funds they froze to cut government waste and fraud. However, the judge failed to disclose, just like Judge Merchan, that his daughter was appointed by Joe Biden and currently works at the Department of Education as a senior policy advisor. Trump and DOGE have said that they want to defund the Department of Education. Judge McConnell has a personal and financial conflict of interest and must immediately recuse himself. There's his daughter, Catherine, right there. This one's her. Senior Advisor, Office of Planning, Policy, and Development. Let's see here. There's a bit better picture of her. Right there, that's his daughter. And that's his daughter sitting on a panel. So you tell me how someone who has a direct financial interest in the Department of Education and some of these departments not going away can be ruling on something so very close to him without ever disclosing, oh yeah, maybe I should disclose that this, my daughter is wrapped up in this. Judge Merchan, did you disclose to anybody that your daughter was doing this stuff? Did you hear any media outlet, other than maybe Fox, talk about Judge Merchan's daughter and how she was tied to this. Oh, you couldn't hear it from Trump because they put him in a gag order and he still wasn't able to speak about how the incestuous nature of that court scene was. And now, here we go all over again. A complete incestuous web between the judge and his daughter and the money. And the media won't even talk about it. It's undeniable. It can't be refuted. Her face is right there. It says Office of the Special Advisor, Department of Education. There's no denying it. And the media won't even talk about it. You need to. You need to. You can clip that Alex Jones clip. You can do it. You can talk about all of the nepotism and incestuous relationship they have to these agencies. The grift is deep. The tentacles go way down into the recesses of these agencies. And nobody wants to talk about it. Just keep the money flowing. But there's stuff here we've been fighting. We don't care. Doesn't matter. You need to keep the money going. And the more you start digging, the more you're going to see something's really wrong here. You're completely ignoring your conflicts, and you're telling the President of the United States you can't stop corruption. Even if you find it, even if it's blatant, even if you know the people are dead, even if you know the addresses are fake, even if you know it's going to people with a fraudulent history, even if you know it's going to terrorists, you can't stop it. Insane. Absolutely insane. So let's continue with this.
$200 billion a year.
Sure.
Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example.
Okay, so this is the stupidest reporter ever to hold a pad in her hand. I want you to listen very closely to this question and realize at this point, how would you answer it? Number one, you'd never ask this question, but Elon Musk, he was gentle, but wow, you got to see this.
The fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact-check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct, so we can trust what you say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean,
Look at President Trump's face. President Trump's face right now is, you stupid, ignorant. The $50 million for the condoms didn't go to Gaza. The $50 million for the condoms went to Mozambique. Oh. I'm sorry.
We will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly.
She said it. She asked him that question. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. It wasn't Gaza. But should we be sending $50 million in condoms anywhere? I don't care if it's Chicago. Why are we sending $50 million of condoms? And the question that you want to ask him in front of the President of the United States, in front of the President of the United States, who's looking at you like, are you frickin' serious? I don't care what country was on the other end of that statement. $50 million in prophylactics went to XYZ country. Let me ask you, maybe I'm wrong. Would you want $50 million of prophylactic to go into any country? Why in the hell am I paying for that? You see, they're okay with it. Obviously. The question she should have said is, how did you find this, and why would we ever be sending $50 million of taxpayer money to a country to help them not spread stuff? How about we spend $1,000 and say, don't spread your legs. Keep your thing in your zippered up. But here's $50 million. Go ahead and be bunnies. Do everything you need to do. And, because it's national security, because some of you people might spread this stuff and then it might make its way over to America. No, how about we just don't let people from Mozambique over who can't understand they shouldn't be doing the fuzzy bumping without, protection, and because people might catch something, and no, you can't come here because you're too stupid to realize there's an outbreak in your country. And then you want to ask this in front of the President of the United States. You are in the confines of the Oval Office, and that's the question you ask Elon Musk. The richest man in the world standing in front of you next to the President, and your point was you got the countries wrong. This is why the Democrats, I'm telling you, they are not going to win again. They can't confront the issue. The issue isn't the country. The issue is, why did anybody authorize $50 million to be sent? Period.
I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, when you think about it. But if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
He asked you a question. I don't really care which country, but why are we doing that? And she just didn't have an answer. And everyone's laughing at her. You are now the butt of jokes. Good thing you weren't on camera, so we don't know who asked that stupid question, but the President and Elon Musk and everybody standing there knows it was you. Did you really just say that? It's amazing. That's simply amazing. Oh, God. Oh, X put his boogie in Elon's hair. Somebody said, I didn't notice Trump's... This one. Brenda says, I didn't notice President Trump's face earlier. I know. I didn't see it until just now. He cockeyed looked at her like, you stupid witch. He's holding everything in, but he wants to say, you one stupid ass. I don't even know. And some of you guys who maybe, are single or something, how many condoms does $50 million buy? I mean, we've been married 33 years, so it's not like a tool that we have to use, but how many of these things could you buy for $50 million? Somebody, if you're single, let me know. How many is that? And don't be embarrassed. You can say you Googled it. we don't need to know. But it obviously is just something stupid. Oh my God. This is just... We're in such trouble. It's not funny. Let's continue.
If people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, whoa, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955.
You ain't gonna believe this, because there's many people who watched that and sat back and go, wait a second, it's 2025, right? Yeah. It's 2025, and the retirement paperwork isn't digitized. And not only is it not digitized, it has to be written, taken to this facility, go 20 stories below ground into this mine with the actual paper. I thought it was a joke. Let me see if I can bring up a oh, here, okay. You can love this. Federal retirements are processed by hand in the year 2025. In a limestone mine, over 700 federal workers process retirements by hand in an old limestone mine in Pennsylvania, 230 feet underground. That's 23 stories. 10,000 applications per month are stored in manila envelopes and cardboard boxes. The process takes months due to outdated manual systems. This Stone Age bureaucracy is exactly what Trump and DOGE are working to dismantle. And there's the mine, and there's the boxes 230 feet below the earth. 23 stories below the earth. They are storing by hand individual folders of people who are retiring in the government. Yeah, I said that. 23 stories. We are so screwed. I mean, I'm looking to see if anybody posted a what do you call it, a video about it, because it's just too much to think about. I think Elon had put one up here. Let me see if I can find it, or he just put pictures. Because there was, no, he put pictures too. So anyway, 23 stories below the earth is where this thing is. 23 stories. Every one of you have worked for a company probably within the last 5 years that, everything's digitized. Our federal government, nope, it's in a limestone mine 23 stories below the earth, which lends to another question. That other question I have, possibly you have, is what else is in this mine in Pennsylvania that is 23 stories deep? I am surprised, that they had this press conference, and Elon Musk said that, and none of these erstwhile reporters who, consider themselves fantastically intelligent, thought to say to themselves, what mine is that? Why is it 23 stories deep? And what the hell is in it? You guys know? I don't know. I don't know what's in this thing that's been working since 1950. What are they storing in these underground cities? 23 stories below the earth. And why, in God's name, would you have to put retirement files that secure? Why would they have to be in a bunker where bombs can't reach it? Retirement files. I can't tell you. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Any of you guys can tell me? Let me know, because I don't understand what it is. So I'm looking to see if they've gone live yet. Nothing yet. As soon as they do, we will definitely cut to it. Of course, ignore these judges. Stuff since World War I is down there. What is it? What's in there? The truth is under there. Ooh, yeah. I wouldn't work down there. Yeah, it's so big, they drive trucks down there. I mean, tractor trailers are zooming through on a video I saw. I'm like, wait a minute. Taking left turns, right turns. It's monstrous. Crazy. Average price. All right, so somebody said the average price, where is it? The average price was $2.50. $2.50. So it's 50 million. Y'all do the math. I ain't got a calculator. Wait, that's a lot. That's a lot. Why 23 stories down? Probably because they keep mining. Probably because they keep going deeper and deeper with stuff. Maybe when it first opened, it was 12 stories. Now it's 23 stories below the earth in a limestone mine. What the hell's in there? I can't tell you. I can't tell you. If I told you, then I'd probably have to kill you. I don't know. So waiting for President Trump, actually for RSBN to go live, but we can continue with this video. We got some more questions to answer.
Have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months, you know it's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years, you know? They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that, and even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe. Yeah. It could be corruption. It could be a deals made on both sides, you know, where I guess the money he kicks back. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
Yeah, tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts, so he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. It seems hard to...
Excuse me, Mr. President. You know, if I was a reporter, if I was standing in there, he just offered you up a crispy biscuit, a delicious crispy biscuit with butter all over it. There's a lot of kickbacks. What would have been your first question? Well, that's a story of epic proportions. That's Watergate on steroids. We see millions, if not billions, worth of dollars, and we believe there's tons of kickbacks. And Elon Musk off screen goes, yeah, lots of kickbacks. And you're telling me not a single person from the credentialed press in that room said, hey, wait. We need to talk about this. What evidence of kickbacks do you have, sir? They don't even ask. They don't even ask. I was salivating. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm not in that room. If I'm in that room, we got to talk. Elon, Mr. Musk, Mr. Trump, President Trump, we pump the brakes. Got some questions, man. How long have these kickbacks been going on? Do you have any idea at this point who has been receiving these kickbacks? If they are kickbacks that are coming, are you referring them to Pam Bondi for a prosecution, investigation? Have the FBI? Nothing. Nothing. Not a single question. But they'll ask you, you got the condom stuff mixed up. It wasn't Gaza, it was Mozambique. You thought enough to say that, but you didn't jump all over everybody and raise your hand when you just heard that. That's not by accident. Because every single one of you, if you're sitting there, you're a stenographer, you're a reporter, you got the little pad. And you know, little pad. And when I heard that, what? You're Mr. President, what did you just say? You're seeing and finding kickbacks, Mr. Musk? Is this true? And you didn't get a single question. I didn't edit that. Nobody asked. That was earlier during our early show. I checked the news. Nobody covered it. How is that possible? Even on Fox, nobody covered it. The man is telling America, listen, the dirt we're finding. And the media, that's not you or me, the other media, what time's dinner? What time's happy hour? We gotta really hurry up. We gotta get to happy hour. But make sure you find out about that condom mistake, because Gaza and Mozambique aren't the same place. Make sure you get that get that square. And not a single question about the kickbacks. None. They have failed us. They have failed you. They have failed me. That tells you you cannot listen to anything they say. Well, the other thing told you that, the tweet by Monica where the White House correspondent says, you know, we say what we want, not what we mean. All right, let's continue.
I believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation.
Buyout program, the operative federal workers.
Oops, caught me drinking. Mr. President, you just dropped something else. He just said we might have to go look at that. Not a question. Nobody has any answers. They don't have any questions about it. I'm like, how could you not have questions about it? I'm pointing this out because I want you to see how in the tank the media is, how they're part of the enemy and what they're saying, or rather with what they're not saying. And if you listen to him as he's speaking, he's giving them the opportunity to ask questions on these things. They don't ask.
Can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through September?
They'll get their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass, that for 5 years you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault.
No follow-up. My follow-up, because I want to tell you how I would structure these things. Mr. President, I've heard you mention a number of times that these buildings are empty, 4%, 1%. We've been hearing all these things. Is it possible you could set up a tour of one of these buildings that we could come in and take pictures and show the American public these empty facilities? Because it's hard for people to imagine that there's a 50,000 square foot building with 200, 400 parking spaces, and the lights are still on, the air conditioning, or actually it's in Washington, so the heat's still on. You're still having to pave the parking lot because it's snowing right now. Can we see these buildings? Is there anyone who could, set up a tour so we could show the American people how bad this really is? Chirp. Crickets. More crickets. More crickets. You don't think that visual would get people to understand how bad the situation is? Saying that these people haven't been to work in 5 years or 4 years is one thing. Seeing this vast empty building with nobody in it would speak so loudly to Americans. You want to see waste? Come on, people. Let me show you waste. There's not many opportunities to prove waste. See, money transferring back and forth, you can't prove that. People can't see it. It's not tangible. Walking into a building with no people, and then walking into another one with no people, and then walking into a third with no people, that's tangible. That's something people can say, that's insane. You're telling me we got tons of these buildings. They're all over Washington. They're all over the country. Empty. Want to see more?
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about $30 million,
right,
etc.?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But they seem to be mysteriously, they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from?
Look at Trump laughing.
I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense.
Again, not a single question. And so now they're going to be investigating these people, and other people have begun putting out information in regards to that because it's easy to see. Look at this tweet. The 10 wealthiest members of Congress. Rick Scott, got to give him a pass. He owned a huge medical company. He was rich before he got into Congress. Mark Warner, don't know him, but yeah, he's worth $195 million. Annual salary $174. Greg Gianforte, around $189 million. Annual salary $184. They should be putting asterisks and saying, oh, this guy owned this before he got in, because I can't tell you any of these people in terms of what they've done. I do know Mitt Romney. He owned Bain Capital, so he had a business before he got in. So this kind of a chart doesn't do much. It shows you how the discrepancy is, but unless you know that these people didn't have businesses prior, it's kind of hard. Vern Buchanan, don't know who he is, but he's worth $250 million. Nancy Pelosi, she's been there forever, so she's never worked. Never. Michael McCall, don't know where he gets his money. Mitch McConnell, he's been there forever. Mitch, where'd you get $95 million? Chuck Schumer, ooh, you got about $75 million. We know you haven't worked, Mitch. Elizabeth Warren, approximately $67 million on an annual salary of $174. Somebody did point it out. Rick Scott's net worth was $219 before he even ran for governor. I knew that because I lived down here, so I can vouch for the fact that he was loaded before he was loaded. So, where the money come from? So now, at that meeting or that press conference, Donald Trump says we are going to start looking into these people. How in the hell did you make all this money? If you came into Congress money, even if you don't like Mitt Romney, you can't bring Mitt Romney up. Mitt Romney owned Bain Capital up in Boston, I believe it was, and he was doing very, very well before the time he came in and became a senator. He used to live in Massachusetts, outside of Boston. So Rick Scott had money, lots of money beforehand. Some of these people have family money, so that stuff goes quite deep. But the other ones, it's time to start looking at it. Where'd you get the money? Where'd you get the money? So there were a number of things that were said at that press conference, but those things are the things I felt that the press should have really pressed for and asked questions about, because they won't, because they know some people are going to be in big trouble. Some people are not going to be able to explain that wealth. Again, if we round it off to 200, if you're making 200 grand a year and you didn't spend a single dime for 20 years, you'd only have 4 million. 200 times 10 is 2 million, and then double that, that'd be 4 million. There's no way you'd be in the 90, 80, $100 million club. There's no way possible. Where did the money come from? The press doesn't even want to ask. They don't care. Or they've been told not to ask. Either way, Stephen Miller.
President Trump left office in 2020. We had peace in the Middle East. We had stability. Relations were being normalized. More and more countries were being added to the Abraham Accords. And it was also peaceful and quiet with Israel and Gaza. 4 years later, of course, we have had catastrophe. We've had bloodbath. We've had chaos. We have Iran on the march to a nuclear weapon, funding proxies all across the region that are spreading terror and death, including, of course, the catastrophe and the tragedy on October 7th in Israel. President Trump is now proposing bold and necessary solutions to solve what has been previously an unsolvable problem. This has not worked. And what President Trump is saying is you could spend $100 billion rebuilding the rubble of Gaza, put everybody back in where they were before. Hamas will reconstitute. Hamas will attack Israel again. It will be reduced to rubble again. And what will do this every 5 years forever? Clearly that has never worked. Clearly that will never work. So he's talking about creating an international cooperative effort to turn the Gaza Strip into a center of commerce and opportunity, and then to work with partners around the region, including Jordan, including Egypt, to resettle some of the 2 million individuals who are living in the Gaza Strip so that it can be a place of peace and prosperity. And this is exactly the plan that is necessary in order to achieve the peace that we've all been searching and hoping for.
Now, most of us who have read the Bible, and I think you guys, many of you would firmly believe the same thing. It's foretold that these people are going to fight to the death. There's never going to be any resolution. So it seems, from a biblical perspective, that entire area is lost. It is going to be nothing but a wasteland of people fighting deep ideological battles. Not about land in regards to like conquering, but from a religious perspective, one side feels they're entitled to the land, and from another religious perspective, another group feels they're entitled to the land. And so when you have that kind of visceral disagreement that goes back centuries, well, not really centuries, because it wasn't until the 1940s that Israel became a country, but the people, the facts, the sex rather, SECTS, have been at war since the time they had slingshots. It may get resolved if people are moved, but who knows? But at least President Trump is trying. That's something most people haven't done. People are still doing the math on the condoms. 24 count, 1595. That's 88,770,000. That's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, if you know what I mean. You're forgetting about John Roberts. They weren't in Congress, so I wasn't forget about them. That in terms of their money, they're just not it. Let's see here. What do we got? How about some of you guys are talking about other things? Jordan agrees to accept the children. Yep, they agreed to accept 6 children and a bunch of the Palestinians as well. The media will continue to side with the left and ask stupid questions. I think it goes beyond siding with the left. At this point, they are in cahoots. It's never going to stop. The media is what it is. So I want to continue until we get ready to take this meeting with the guy who just got freed. Of all people, listen to this.
Samantha Powers has been just texting me morning, noon, and night. Samantha, look in the mirror. The reason USAID is going to cease to exist as it did before is because it should. I can't go home and say, this is soft power. Operas, whatever agenda you got, needs to be focused on making America safer and prosperous by working with people. So USAID is a victim of their own excesses.
Senator Graham. You know that Trump is winning and he's got power when you hear that kind of response from Lindsey Graham. When Lindsey Graham is like, yeah, USAID, bad, sorry. What do you mean? Samantha Powers has been texting you at home. Is that something? And nobody asked, hey, has she been texting you? Have you guys been a part of this USAID money flow? She just all of a sudden decided out of the blue, you know what, maybe Lindsey Graham could help me. It just happened? Is that what you're telling me? Or were you knee-deep in USAID yourself, as it has appeared to people? It has appeared that Lindsey Graham was tied to one of these NGOs, and he got $130 million. All right, the NGO got $130 million. But in any event, he is firmly in the Trump camp at this point, probably because he has to be. He's got no way out. None whatsoever. He's stuck. Let's continue. Just a little bit more.
You've said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. We're going to get it going eventually, where a lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East, but I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East, and you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work, and those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
So President Trump talked for 1 minute and 2 seconds there, and the reporter missed it. What do you mean? Yesterday you said you were going to buy it, and now you're not talking about buy it. And you hear his answer? Blah, 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 blah. We're going to take it. See, nobody responded. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to take it. I don't know what that means. But he straight up said, we are going to take it. And once we take it, then we can go ahead and fix up this big pile of rubble. But we're going to take it. So many times President Trump will tell you something, and unless you hear it yourself, you'll never hear about it in the media ever again. It just, like it never happened. You would know. You wouldn't possibly know. You wouldn't know that he's been mentioning kickbacks. You wouldn't know that he's been mentioning fraud and corruption. You would know. That's why, I play some of these things for you, because you got to start paying attention and understanding how this war is being fought, because we are in a war. No doubt. There's even rumors tonight, I can't verify, but there's rumors tonight that he's talking about issuing a pardon for Edward Snowden. If he pardons Edward Snowden, we know their heads will explode. What does that mean? For him to pardon Edward Snowden, what exactly is Edward Snowden going to give him about the deep state? And if he's pardoned, and it happens to be, before Tulsi Gabbard is confirmed, you remember the left was hammering her about Edward Snowden. And so now it looks like there's talk, at least, that he is going to be pardoning Edward Snowden. Laura Loomer had also put something out that this was just completely freaky. There are salaries exceeding $1.2 million per year at the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. Who in the hell is making $1.2 million a year at the National Wildlife Foundation? Through my investigation into the financial dealings of the NWFW, established by Congress in 1984 as a charity, it has been revealed that their CEO, Jeffrey Trandall, received a salary of $1.2 million for the fiscal year 2022 to 2023. That's over $1.2 million per year as the CEO of an environmental charity. Now that people are digging and they're finding out what's going on, it just seems to be no stop to this. It just keeps going and going and going. Your money, my money, your parents' money, your sister, your brother, these people are just stealing from us over and over and over again. And it just doesn't seem like it stops at all. Snowden and Assange should both be pardoned. They can't understand what Trump says because their eyes have been shut by the god of deception. Interesting. They can't converse because they're not humans. They're lizard people. The mainstream media has been bought by the left. Yep. What else we got here? 1948, Israel was reestablished. Yes, it was. I thought it was 47. I'll take 48. Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So I'm at the point right now where I think you guys can see all this stuff that's going on, and that it's not, if these judges continue to do this stuff, I don't think Trump has any choice but to just go full steam ahead. I don't see how we recover as a country if they stop this. They just want the money to flow, and that, unless of course the people say we've had enough, unless the people rise up. You know, they're the ones who are always talking about riots and, you know, getting in the street. I don't know what will happen if the Supreme Court says you can't stop the money, with everybody knowing today already that they're stealing all these funds. I don't know where it goes from here. All right, it is the evening show, and as we're waiting for Trump to meet Mark Fogle, let me go ahead and get ready to give away some hoodies while we are waiting. Gonna have to figure this real quickly, make sure I've got enough hoodies still ready to go. Hold on. Uh-oh. I wonder if I have I might have to reset this. I didn't think, we'll see. We'll see if it allows me to give out more. Oh yeah, okay. Yep, I think I have just like 3 more I can give away, and then from there we'll have to redo it. All right, so let me go ahead and move this over here, and I can then look at it from here. Yeah, we can do it this way. All right, so where's the drum roll, please, before I have to upgrade? Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Okay, here we go. Robert Delaney. Robert Delaney, you have won a free hoodie. Let's do it again. Oops. I don't have enough in here. So, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to probably have to do this manually, because that software only allows me to go to 250, which means we've given away 250 plus hoodies so far. Let me try something else. I may have to redo it. Yeah, it's not letting me. So I'll do it manually. Let me just do it this way and pick a name. I can't show it because I need to be able to just go into the database and let me see. Nope, you're going to be mad. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to redo the database so I can pick some more winners. But at least we got one done tonight. My bad. I'm sorry. One. We only could do one. It won't let me do another one until I update the database, which I shall. If you would like to join our X group, please go to fanfareshop.org/group. We are nearing 15,000 fellow patriots at this point, almost 15,000. So it's moving pretty good, and I'm happy so many of you guys have joined it. And if you'd like to win a hoodie tomorrow, which I will have it ready, go to enter to win fanfareshop.org, and you'll be able to win a new hoodie. All right, let me take a few comments before I go to 83 days of hoodie. Do we have to be here present to win? No, you don't have to be present to win. Ashley will send you an email if you win and ask you for your size and address to deliver it. In addition to that, let's see, okay, SB says right now there's 14,869 members in the private X group. So you're welcome to join. We're going to get to 15,000 very, very soon. Okay, let me go down here and do some super chats. I'm going to do the super chats while I have the window open so I can see if anything happens with the guy. Hold on. Okay, hold on. All right, so I can do this. All right, super chats. I hope they're doing. He's already, once again, 30 minutes late. Judith Lease, thank you. VA wants federal workers purged. Good. That's Doug Collins. Amapola, thank you very much. Jeremiah Kerr, tried to mention it the other night, Barry, let the Middle East pitch in, then issue loans to finish the Gaza Strip to complete it and have at least 51% stake. I'm good with that. I am definitely good with that. Benedetto Salerno, Trump has to be just like Biden, hell with SCOTUS. Yeah, I believe so too. KW Stevens, thank you very much, sir or ma'am. You are a truth teller, 66-year-old black retired Navy veteran. I voted since 18 and never for a Democrat. I debated my pastor father about supporting candidates who endorsed Democrat. You know what? I did have something I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, this is absolutely stunning. It's just one of those byproduct things that I had seen, and I wanted to show you guys. And I'm glad Mr. or Miss Stevens, either one of you who brought that up, because to me, this is, I don't know if anybody had seen this information. This popped up yesterday, right? I want you to look at this. This is crazy. It's embarrassing, it's shameful, and I just can't even fathom that this kind of stuff goes on. All right, so look at this. In 1960, before welfare, this is something you can download and share with people. So, in 1960, before welfare, only 22% of black children were raised with only one single parent. Then after that, 1975, it went from 1960, it went from 22 to 67% of black children were raised with only one parent. Then by 2016, 73% of black children are born out of wedlock. That is a prescription for poverty. That is something that the Democrats have promoted, that they've done to the black community, and they still promote it, and they still want that to be the case. And that is why so many people in the black community are saying, we're done. We are absolutely done. It looks like the family is moving in. The press is there. As soon as they are ready, we will cut to it. I just wanted to share that with you. A 50% change since welfare started. When are you going to show pics of people who won the hoodies? I have a whole bunch of them. Yeah, I can put that together in a slideshow. No problem. I can do that. You guys want to see that? Put more work on my shoulder. No worries. I can do it. Nikki Esselman, Jack and Ozzy tour Iron Mountain on their show Jack and Ozzy. Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was funny. Talking about the Osbournes. Maria, $50 million of condoms is literally a crap load of condoms. $50 million is literally a shipload of condoms. Okay, we're seeing people move in. Nope, not yet. We'll move to it as soon as he comes on. You won't miss anything. Let's see here. Mozambique population totals 34 million, so maybe 10 million. They couldn't possibly need more than a couple million. Nope, it was complete waste. That wasn't a super chat, but I wanted to see that. Backdraft, Esselman, watch Jack and Ozzy's world tour. You guys did the same thing. Scott, backdraft again. Archives of the Adolf guy as a baby Osborne's original recording. I never saw that episode, those episodes. Still waiting for them to walk out. Not sure which room in the White House they're in, but it's beautiful. You'll see in a second. Carrie Marlowe, thank you very much. And more people walking around. Yeah, tour of those buildings would be cool. Maria, thank you. Yes, Carol Burnett's skit went with the wind. A spoof on Gone with the Wind. I Bangle. Elon was corrected. Gaza is in Mozambique. Really? I thought Mozambique was in Africa. I did not know that. Ronald Jash. Apparently, I would consider myself wealthy if I could afford a box. Oh, man. Ross and Hunter, coincidence, the storage facility is in Butler, Pennsylvania. Paul Minter, thank you very much. Born on the 4th, Journalism 101. Who, what, when, where, why. Exactly. Very simple. Very simple. Find out the information. Ken 1362, they grow mushrooms in abandoned mines of coal and limestone in Missouri. Okay. Nope, reporters are getting their signals, so that's not nothing to bring in yet. Joey Kirkland. Hello, Joey. Haven't seen him in a couple days. When I was a truck driver, 18-wheeler, I drove into mines of Missouri, deep caves, docks were between rocks and pillars, guards. It looked like planning for World War III. Yeah, it was weird watching that. I've never seen it before. iBangle, check it out from Iron Mountain for info. Okay. Gene Dumford, in my 70s, was a therapist in ministry, connected to the military, fed law enforcement, fire rescue, and never heard the term fuzzy bumping. Roll out of four. Oh, I try to be colorful. What just came up? Fume drummer. Federal paper retirement paperwork in a mine. Joe Biden kept top secret files next to his Corvette in a residential garage. Really? Go figure. Kimberly Woolbright. Thank you. From Canada. L. Green. Look up the Iron Mountain contains data, art, music from all over the world supposed to survive an atomic bomb. Never knew that. Still hasn't come out yet. People are doing sound check and stuff, but nothing yet. David Cummings, 69 million condoms for 50 million. That's a lot. That's. But it went to Mozambique, not Gaza, so it's better. It's better. T-Mac, thank you, Barry. Love listening to you. Thank you, T-Mac. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's better because it went to Mozambique. Don't get the two confused. Kim Hansen, they were ribbed for her pleasure. That's gross, bro. That's gross. That's really gross. But I remember the commercials. Maria, White House correspondents can report whatever they want. Great. They agree with President Trump. White House correspondents don't need to sit on the White House briefing. Yeah, seriously. Kim, I just mentioned that one. Karl Hassenauer, when tyranny becomes law, rebellion becomes duty. Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked rule, the people groan. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of groaning lately. Lots and lots and lots of groaning. All right, so I'm keeping an eye on it as I'm clicking buttons here. Nothing yet. At least I got a shot of the room, but nothing is happening as of yet. Useless idiot Hillary, what's this? Okay, Hillary Clinton and Jill Biden scandal breaking news. Yes. Larry 1754, a real tax refund means we get back every cent we paid in taxes throughout the year. That's a real refund. Otherwise, just a partial repayment. Exactly. I hate the word tax refund. I'm like, people realize what's going on. Liberals can't understand humor or sarcasm. No, and they bred an entire legion of kids who grew up without humor who now find things offensive. Crazy. Chris Korastis, I believe Trump will do what's best for American people regardless of whatever the Democrats throw at him. I hope so. Rhinoceros Barry needs a press pass to the White House and Mar-a-Lago. Just saying. I could just drive up to Mar-a-Lago. They throw me out, but I can just drive up there. Tahara Garakani. In order to destroying President Trump, Democrats decided to divide us so they can do all this mess. They just switched their camera. Nothing yet. I wonder if... I understand President Trump's going to greet Mark Fogle. What was that? Chris Caruth, love Coach Cunningham. Thank you, Chris. Waiting for Mark Fogle and President Trump to arrive. Barry, speaking of laughter, they couldn't handle Dolomite. Mr. Mike, Trump should tell the judges to pound sand. Yeah, at this point, the country's at stake, man. The country is at stake. Useless idiot. The media correspondents, whatever they've been told, they have no legal standing on anything in the White House. I completely agree. All right. Where are we with this? I'm just looking to see where it was. Okay. Mel Porter, send them all to Iceland. Iceland doesn't want them either. Somebody said they're trying to change the name of Greenland to Red, White, and Blueland. That was funny. Chris Angler, who thinks Barry should add a laugh track button? I have clapping. I have baby crying. Yeah, I might have to get laughter. I might have to get one of those. Debbie Etheridge. Hey, Debbie. What about the limestone mine for retirement pay work? Yep. This must have been from earlier. Yep, I did show it. Chucker, thank you very much. What's this here? Barry, you should have your own news channel on TV. You're a huge blessing to all of us who listen to you. You are the best. Thank you very, very, very much. That means a lot to me in terms of the work I have to do to produce something. Viking King, welcome home, Mark Fogle. Yep, I'm waiting to see if they show him. We are now half hour, a little more than half hour late of them showing up. Corrine Drake, if the press corps wants to keep messing around like the AP, then one independent media seat will go from 1 to 2 very quickly, as well it should. Useless idiot again. Can you explain to me the difference between Elon Musk and his crew and the thousands of unelected bureaucrats that work for the government? I think I posted, let me show you something. I think I posted a meme. I see people walking in. Let me see if I can find this meme that somebody, I got it from somebody else, but it was really funny as people were beginning to walk in the room. Let me see if here's the meme I put up. Idiots. Democrats are idiots. And it's a picture of Elon and a picture of Fauci. Underneath it says, the people whining that this guy wasn't elected and shouldn't have any authority handed keys to America's health care to this corrupt liar who needed a pardon for his actions. How true is that? You know, they had Fauci basically got the keys to the kingdom, and nobody seemed to have any problem at all with that. Nobody. I see more people coming in. Don't know who these people are, but let me just make sure the volume is working and that we're ready to go when he steps up to the mic. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. We have sound. Where am I? Next page. Keeping an eye on it. So anyone know how long this guy's been held in Russia? They probably will say it today. Hospitality state. I feel hopeless and helpless on what to do. Talk to each other. Just keep talking. Talk each other up. Don't feel despondent. Talk to each other. Doesn't change when Pam has charges set forth. It should. It very well should. That's how it should work, but who knows what's going on with these judges. Rhinoceros, I think what the DOGE team penetrated was the proverbial octopus that Danny Casolaro was going to write about in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, it's no longer over the target. He is in the target at this point, and they know it. I don't even see a microphone set up, so I don't know how they're going to do this. Utah Brumley, the Constitution will prevail with American support. I hope so. That's what I believe as well. The judges have to look at that. Fume drummer, Trump can get rid of all the Dems talking points about DOGE by releasing the Epstein papers. So they're saying those should come out within 10 days from now, once Kash Patel is announced or confirmed. Job for 9, unveiling the corruption means that it is everywhere, including the elections. Of course it is. Of course it is. Mike Newquist, for the judge's order, Trump could comply but provide a warning that have all the data, and when it is overturned, so should the money. You mean tell the other countries that are getting the money? they don't care. So I'm seeing military people come in now. We still do not have the boss arriving. Debbie Gandy, Barry, remember when you wondered what you would talk about after the election? Yes, I do. Think I've been mentioning that lately. You're awesome. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Mike Johnson is there. Brian Mast. I'm looking to see if I recognize some of the other faces. I don't. Not one F left to give. Great show. Do you like my new YouTube name? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. That is a very, very cool name. We're getting close, obviously. I'm seeing Mike Johnson. I think that's Mike Johnson. The speaker is there. And I know that's Brian Mast. I'm waiting to see if any other people. U.S. Executive Services Declaration of Independence, which states that when a government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish. That means it's on us. All right, boss is here. He's walking over to the microphone, so I will continue with the. Well, actually, he just took the. There are a whole bunch of people waiting, and he walked in and says, "We're going in here." So I don't know where he's headed, but. It is not it is not where I think everybody thought he was going. So he went into another room. Now he's outside. Is he going to talk outside? Yeah.
This American is coming home tomorrow. Somebody else very special. Very special. What do you think of wrapped up with Fogle? Very fair. Very, very fair. Is it arresting prisoner? We're going to announce it tomorrow. Very fair.
Oh, he's awaiting the arrival of Mark Fogle outside. He's meeting the car.
Why didn't you not use the government plane to pick up what? Save the government money. How much? A lot. You save the government a lot of money. Are you concerned about safety? No. Just run down the plane.
I'm not crying.
I know, I asked them how they got it in there. Yes, they said they snuck it in. And it was a pleasure to meet you, Mr. Squirrel. Hey, good to see you. I had a Steeler hat on when I got off the plane. All right. I don't know where it is, but it's great to see you. Your mom came to our house. She told me that. I just talked to Vicky, and I know she was there, and I'm a brother. You've been an absolute star for me and my family, and again, like I said, for me to articulate all this in this particular time after what I've been through, and it's not the 3.5 years, but the last 6 days has been like this work sure. They came and pulled me out, mask on, I could see where I was going, and they were moving me. There was a point, that they brought me my clothes. Let's go do it at the call. I'm not one bit of cold, I came from Russia. And you know what? Of the 10 letters, I got one from you as well. And I had that in a scrapbook I was keeping, and they took that scrapbook from me today, and I wanted that. Those scrapbooks back in the scrapbook. Your pictures in it, and they were, giving me the shakedown. We're looking through it, and I have the picture of you and my mom. And you should have seen these guys. Well, their eyes lit up like,
He's a happy guy.
When he comes in afterwards, I'm going to tell you why you probably won't see this on the liberal media, and you will be absolutely pissed off when you find out why you're probably not going to see this on most of the lib channels. But stay tuned after this, and I'll give you the backstory.
Everybody knows Mark. He's become a very famous guy. He's a very happy guy tonight, so it's just a real honor, an honor to have you at the White House.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes. I am in awe of what they all did. My family has been a force. I think my 95-year-old mother is probably the most dynamic 95-year-old on earth right now. And I am so indebted to so many people. I think I remember a Churchill quote that he said when the RAF was fighting the Luftwaffe, and he said that never have so many owed so much to so few. And I put myself, fortunately and unfortunately, into that category, and I said, never has one owed so much to so many. That this superorganism of people that came to my support and the love that I was given sustained me for 3.5 years in a prison that had me in hospitals for more than 100 days. I was given more than 400 injections in that time. And knowing I had the support of my fellow Pennsylvanians, my family, my friends, it was so overwhelming that it brought me to my knees and it brought me to tears. But it was my energy, it was my being that kept me going that whole time, and I will forever be indebted to President Trump, to Steve over there. What a dynamic man this guy is.
That's true.
When I met him, the energy, the can-do attitude just exudes from his body. And when he smiled at me and introduced me and I got the feel for what has happened, you know, it's not just me, it's everybody. And Secretary Rubio, who met my son a while back, I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom in a little while. It's a very special place. Appropriate for tonight, I think. Very appropriate.
And thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully, and he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
I remember. She made quite an impression.
And you also did.
Yeah.
And I'm in awe of what you've done. And your team.
It's great to have you back.
Oh,
gonna have a great life. Yes.
President, did you speak directly to President Putin about?
Well, I don't want to say that. I just want to say that I appreciate very much what they did in letting Mark go home, and I appreciate Steve Witkoff, the job he did, and Marco behind the scenes was unbelievable. And so many of these people were unbelievable. They represent him. They're from his area. And we just wanted to get him back home. I had to get him back home because I would have had big trouble with his mother. And we're going to take him for a little tour of the Lincoln bedroom, which nobody gets to see, and it's very special. Do you want to see it?
I would love to. And I also should make mention that President Putin was very generous and statesmanlike in granting me a pardon. I mean...
What were the terms of this deal, Mr. President?
Very fair, very, very fair, very reasonable. Not like deals you've seen over the years. They were very fair. And I think that's going to lead, and somebody else is being released tomorrow that you will know of. But we wanted to get this done, very important. And Steve wanted to actually fly over and get Mark and get him home properly, because it could be a pretty tough trip.
So is this the beginning of a deal, sir? Is this the start of
I think there's goodwill in terms of the war. You know, 1.5 million soldiers, young people have been killed.
I've met many of them.
Yeah, and it's a terrible thing going on, so we want to get that done. I think this could be the very important element. You could be a big part of it, actually, because it could be a big, important part of getting the war over with Ukraine. And we appreciate President Putin's what he did. He was able to pull it off for you, right? He was able to pull it off. We think, and you're here, and you're here, so it was great. We'll tell you a little bit more about it tomorrow, but I think we've made great progress on the war also. Getting the war, I want to get the war ended. That war should not have been. It would have never happened if I was president. It would not have happened. And it did happen, and now you have all blown up cities and dead people. So many dead people. Should have never, ever happened. And you could be a big catalyst for just this evening. It's a very important evening for ending that war, and I think they all want to see it ended.
Does that mean you gave assurances about Ukraine?
How does it change your perspective on Putin and your attitude?
Well, I don't want to get into that. I only can say this. We got a man home whose mother and family wanted him desperately, whose state wanted him. He's become a big symbol. And it's an honor to have played a small role in that. And I want to tell you, these people, they all played a role. And we got him home, and he's healthy. It looks good, actually. To me, you look damn good, I'll tell you that.
I think when expectations are low, maybe that helps a little bit.
When you go kaplunk, right?
Can you tell us about the conditions in the prison that you were in, sir?
I think I need a little bit of time to sort of digest all of that. There were times when it was extremely trying. There were times when I could manage it, but I think I need some more time to, process it.
It wasn't easy, right? It wasn't easy.
Every second, every minute, every day had a challenge.
But you're in good shape. I mean, compare that to what we saw 2 days ago come home. They were very, very ill. Those people are very ill. They were treated really badly.
Mr. President, your predecessor left you almost $4 billion in unused aid for Ukraine. Are you going to use those money? Are you going to
we're going to
send
see, but my predecessor should have had this gentleman out a long time ago. We did it in 2.5 weeks. He had 4 years to do it. He should have had Mark out a lot earlier. It's a shame. It's a shame.
It was very...
Should have never had the war to start off with. Should have never had, that war would have never happened if I was president. But he should have had him back 3.5 years ago. So it was too bad, but he didn't do it. But we did it. Thank you all very much. Thank you very much. Come on.
Mr. President, are reciprocal tariffs still coming tomorrow, or are you waiting until you need to vote?
We'll see what happens.
Have you spoken with President Xi?
So great.
All right, so he's back. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory in case some of you guys don't know. I didn't know how long he'd been there. SV texted me and said it's been like 3+ years. But that's not the real backstory on this. And it may be, I don't know if the liberal media was covering it, but if they didn't, I'm going to tell you why they probably aren't. So, do you guys remember the whole story about woman basketball player Brittany Griner? And when Brittany Griner went over to Russia and she got caught with drugs and they did everything to get her back. She's a black lesbian basketball player and they did everything to get her back. Well, he was there. And they designated her, what was the term back then? Unlawfully detained. And they kept saying it was unlawfully detained, so we had to get her back, even though she was caught with drugs. Well, they never gave that designation to Mark Fogle. He was there at the exact same time she was there. I'm not sure who got arrested first, but they were both in Russia. And then the Biden administration made a huge big deal about trading Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death. Went and got her, made a big deal about bringing her back. And Mark Fogle's like, me? Nothing. Not a word. Not a word. That guy, I don't even know how, she's been back so long, she played in the league this year. Him, he's been stuck in the gulag. Now, if you noticed anything in that interview, and you want to read between the lines, understand what looks like is happening. It looks as though there's a deal close between Ukraine and Russia. Barry, why do you say that? However long it takes to fly from Russia to the United States, I don't know, 12 hours maybe? They obviously had a lot of time to talk. And they said, A, don't say anything negative about Putin. B, kind of just say, what do you say? I just need some time to process this because you're never going to hear from him again until after this is done. They're actually putting him in the Lincoln bedroom so he's staying the night maybe. That tells me that in the debriefing process, he told them things, they told him things, and they're like, when you get in front of the press, they're going to probably ask you a question. How are you treated? President Putin was a good guy. He took care of me. Yeah, right. Don't say anything negative, because we have some very sensitive negotiations going on. We can't see this thing go south, because you get over there, that piece of crap, they beat me every other day. They kept feeding me worms and rat food and blah, blah, blah. No. Shh. You got a lot to say. Notice he didn't say he wasn't treated badly. He said, I can't process that right now. You got to give me some time to process. Any one of us have been like, F that, and this is what they did, and they beat me with night. Nope. They kept him quiet. That reading between the lines, why would they need to keep him quiet to the point of, don't upset the apple cart right now? That means there's a deal probably very close. Then Trump said he's going to get another one out tomorrow that we'll know. Don't know who that could be. But there's obviously some negotiations, deep negotiations happening. Remember, Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, just as Steve Witkoff just came back from Russia, Scott Bessent is going, and he's in Ukraine right now meeting with Zelensky. I think they're at the final stages of the deal. I think at this point, Steve Witkoff was over in Russia. He comes back, and the other half of the deal, Scott Bessent is probably talking to Zelensky right now saying, here it is. This is the deal. This is what we can cut. And then whatever happens when he gets back, if we hear about it, that means that this was the deal. It was imminent. At least that's what my story is. I'm sticking to it. I've been pretty right on some stuff, but I'm reading between the lines. Don't mess up. Don't say anything nasty. It's a long plane ride to be debriefed. All right, let me continue. This is from Judith. Thank you very much. Jobs for 9. Unveiling the corruption means it's everywhere, including elections. Okay, I read that one before. I remember that. Sherry Martin. I think President Trump should ignore those crazy liberal judges. Yes, I believe so too. Mary Boston, thank you. From Canada, Dragon Girl, thank you very much. Where am I on here? There's so make sure I'm not skipping anybody. Steve Lukomsky. Can DOGE look into state budgets and contract? No, not unless they're invited. See, that might be something you might be hitting on right there. If they have access to federal stuff, but if somebody like, Ron DeSantis said, come look at our stuff. If they get invited in, sure. Jeremiah Kerr, did anyone see where that hyperlink takes you from the Kanye West Super Bowl commercial? Nope, not clicking on something from Kanye. Not going to happen. Amanda's Jeep Edition. Love the opening music. My daughter's in the music industry. I'd love to know who is playing the car. I'm going to have some information for you tomorrow. It seems to me like that intro pisses some people off and some people love it. Melvin Blodgett. Hey, Barry, I know you like high-profile interviewees, but if you would like to hear from a middle economic layperson's view, I'm all in. Okay, well, Ashley, talk to Melvin and see if you can't set something up, because one of the other things, never mind high-profile interviews, I wanted to bring some of you guys on. You remember a couple weeks ago, Tommy Radcliffe came on and played the guitar, so I'd love to have some of the Fanfare fam on. Amira, thanks for always including us in the discussion. Thank you. Let's see here. Where are we? Fran, that's Magic Transon, Congressman E.J. Johnson. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Mike the Plumber. Wow, finally, and a Democrat said something honest that what they wish for the people. Yeah, yeah. I want to work with people who, censor Americans. What an idiot she was. I cannot believe she even said that. That was so stupid. She's got big balls. Thomas Williams, hello, Barry. Just want to say how good of a job you're doing. Keep up the good work. Thank you. P.S. Great intro music. See, some people like it, some people don't. Does James Bond know about her Ozark ghost hunter? Wendy Atai, she wants to censor us so we can't speak about the waste, fraud, and kickbacks. What about Kash Patel? Looks like it's next week. Looks like it's going to be next week. Kash Patel should be in. Ayanna Presley is a female version of Dr. Evil. Dr. Evil now. Ozark Go Hunter. Remember, we don't have to worry about the midnight show tonight. Tulsi Gabbard is not being up for confirmation. As you saw, look, beautiful backdrop of Trump out there with the snow-covered trees. So they called off meetings tonight because of the snow, but they will go do it tomorrow at 11. Yes, she needs to be censored. I completely agree with you. She's the one who's got the big mouth and saying stupid things. Diamond G, whoops, knocked over the board game. Reset pieces, please. Barry not feeling the opening. Okay, let's see. Barry not feeling the opening with only rock music. Give the homeboys some love here. Oh, you want me to go like homie stuff? All right, we'll try it. Robert Husbands, how do we get email addresses of Congress so we can give them our thoughts? Every congressional member, Senate and House, should have a website where you can email them and reach them. And if they don't, they all have, most of them have Twitter profiles, so you can hit them up on Twitter as well. So I would jump all over that. Ryan says, nice shirt, Barry. Thank you for the late night show. Thank you. It wasn't supposed to be a late night show, but as SV said, this guy, President Trump, keeps us running. Kim Hansen, a president with hairy balls thing. They're never going to live that one down. That's never going away. That's in our history right now. Hey, Rogers Berry, our local White House press secretary. I'm glad we got that in so you guys can see, because I wasn't crying. Oh, it wasn't me. Your intro reminds me of Buckethead. Yes, I know Buckethead. Not personally, but I love Buckethead. Love his music. Some people are like, "Who the hell is Buckethead?" I'm probably going to shock you when I say this, Master Cylinder, and you're probably thinking to yourself, an older black guy knows Buckethead? Well, not only do I like Buckethead, I really like the song Soothsayer. Oh, you're probably shocked now. You're like, oh my God, this man knows Buckethead and the song Soothsayer? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Love that song. Love it. I know you're sitting there going, there's no way he knew Soothsayer. Yes, I did. Master Cylinder, I've read many articles about Eric Snowden. Can't really ascertain the extent of his crime. Seems many in this government are guilty of much worse. Exactly. Christopher Workman, judges confess your window is narrow. I hope he puts a lot of them away. Kim Hansen, just recess cash in now. No more wasting time. The FBI destroying as we speak. There's some really funky stuff going on with the FBI. Barry, Mama Tracy, Barry, you need to get a sniddly whiplash laugh button because you laugh like him when you're... Oh, I just did it. Useless idiot. I hope they don't hold some names back on the Epstein files as leverage. They need to lock up every name on there. And I don't care if it's left or right. If you over there doing stuff to kids, you need to go away. Period. Dave the Patriot, confirmed reports showing over $34 trillion in gold being brought into New York. I'm going to have Kevin Lear from Lear on probably next week. CBN Cunningham Broad next week. Yeah, and Kevin's going to talk about that. Remember, Don Rickles, no one was safe. Oh, used to love it. Didn't care what color you were, didn't care. Rudd 1 R92, a small token for all your extra work you put in. Thanks a million. Thank you very much. Isaac Stillman, 2.23 million is the estimated population of Gaza. Alexander the Great, thank you very much. I think that's everybody. If I missed anybody because Trump jumped on, I apologize, because he jumped on and I was trying to keep up with it. But if there was a super chat that I missed, let me know, let one of the moderators know. But let me just go ahead and apologize right now if I missed you. Thank you very much. And as we've been doing, and even though I know it's late, it's almost 11 o'clock, I'm going to play the outro. And then after the outro, people have been liking it, so I'm just going to continue doing it. After the outro plays, if you want to hang out and talk back and forth with the Fanfare family and, just converse about what you've seen and some of the other stuff, feel free as I do the after show chat party. And so just hang out. I'm not just going to turn it off. Two more. I think his eyes are being truthful. Mark, okay. Southern Ninja, Sophie Burrell is the guitarist. Yeah, that's her. There you go. All right, so let me go ahead and play the outro, and then after the outro, I go to the after party where you guys can just hang out and talk to each other. Talk to you guys tomorrow. It'll probably be early. At this point, they say Tulsi Gabbard's hearing is supposed to be about 11, so I may jump on early. I'll post it in a group so you guys will see it. Talk to you soon.